Hey my fellow runners, today's video are lessons learned from my first marathon, which happened about 3 weeks ago. I did complete it, got this nifty medal from the Providence Marathon. My time was about a little bit over 4 hours, 4 hours and 10 minutes. And before I get into this video, I'd just like for you to please subscribe to my channel, and also if there's any other videos or suggestions that you like me to put out, please mention that in the comment sections below. So, first lesson that I learned from my first marathon is on mileage and elevation. So my best training week, or my longest training week, was about 42.9 miles, which is okay. It's recommended to run 30 to 50 miles in preparation for your marathon. And having your longest run about 3 weeks before the marathon, my longest run before the marathon was about 22 miles. During the marathon, I was doing fairly well until probably mile 20. I started hurting decently bad, but I think I could have done a little bit better. And if I trained longer, like my weeks should be about 50 miles or so, probably would have let me let the marathon be a little bit easier for me. As you can see here, right now I'm training for a little bit of ultra marathons, 6-hour ultras and 11 ultra, trying to get into a little bit higher than a marathon. And I started up with a 47-mile training week, which hopefully that would be the shortest training week for me. And I'll keep going up from there. My goal for that is about 70 miles a week. But for marathon training, you should really be training about 40 to 50 miles a week, and it'll probably make your marathon experience a little bit easier. Also, a note on elevation. My most elevation that I did was on a flat surface, and it was about an accumulation of 245 feet, which is okay. However, I didn't realize this while I was running, but the total elevation for the marathon was about 600 to 650 feet, which did kind of kill my legs a little bit. So that is lesson number 1. Lesson number 2 are shoes. So for the marathon, I actually ran in the Saucony's Peregrine 12s, which is actually a trail shoe. And you can see it's a little bit worn off, and the sole is fairly not that cushiony, and the shoe was okay until, again, mile 20. My left foot, I started feeling the pounding on my feet, and maybe for future, if I am gonna train or run on pavement, maybe I should use shoes that are made for that, and not trail shoes, maybe some Hokas or something with a little bit more cushioning than this. And the last lesson number 3, is nutrition. So first of all, you should never ever try out new foods or nutrition during the marathon, during the actual marathon. You probably want to dial that in before the marathon. That's not what I did. In fact, before the marathon, I had my hydration dialed in, but I don't really run and eat at the same time. In fact, most of my runs are in the morning, and they're low caloric runs, meaning that I just wake up and go for a run without any food in my body. However, for the marathon, I felt that I might need some energy throughout the run. So I experimented with dates. So the morning of the marathon, the first thing that I had for breakfast was a banana and almond butter. And then during the marathon, about mile 13, around 14 mile, I started eating dates. And dates are pretty good. I didn't realize it was a little bit awkward eating while running, but they go down pretty well. They stay down well, and that felt pretty good throughout the whole run. I didn't feel nausea or I didn't feel nausea or anything until all the way to the end. So I hope that nutrition did help me. And that was it. The one negative part of so for me it worked out, but don't try out new foods. Dial that in prior to the marathon. For hydration, I ran in a hydration vest, so I had 2 500 ml flasks. One flask is full of regular water, and the other flask was full of electrolytes. So that I really dialed that hydration in way before the marathon. That's because water only got me up to 60 miles until I hit a wall, and then I knew I needed to drink some electrolytes. But having just electrolytes without water, they just become too sweet, and you kind of like that little bit of water to kind of dilute the electrolytes and for them to make it taste a little better. So that's really it. 3 lessons. So the first lesson was mileage and terrain. Second one was make sure you have the right shoe on when you run on pavement rather than on trails. And the third lesson is make sure you dial in your nutrition before you get on your run. So again, thanks for watching. Please subscribe and please comment if you have any other videos. If you want me to review some watches, some shoes, or whatnot. Next week I'm planning on reviewing my new trail running shoes, Ultra Superior 5s. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching. See you next time.